Hello and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content we have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura, and as always, I'm joined by award-winning director Brian Redondo and Savon Jones, aka Captain Bonnie. This is episode 190, and we give our impressions about the first 3 episodes of the MCU's latest show, Ironheart. I'm confident that it's going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and well, hey, if it's not, you can always ask us for a refund.
Incredible!
Hello, gentlemen. Welcome back. It's Confidently Wrong. Last time we had a pod, these two knuckleheads did it without me, and
yeah, you showed up anyway.
I
what was
crashed.
that all about?
You said let's record, even though we're all not here without me, and then insisted on recording. And we was boy unhappy.
And then he showed up like a helicopter parent.
Yeah,
I
just like making sure you guys are doing okay when I'm not here. That boy just thinking,
Don't be talking about me.
It was way more selfish than that. I wanted to make sure that I got my 2 cents in, that Ellie rocks, and I love the way that the show was going. And to all the haters, like, fuck them, I don't care. So,
Kaya Elijah just letting y'all know now, this is gonna be y'all Paul. He's just gonna say, all right, girls, I'm out of town.
Gotta get my 2
and then
cents.
not actually be out of town.
Surprise!
And then crash the house party. Hey, I know I said I was gonna leave y'all to the house for a week, but here I am 2 days later, because F it, why not?
I've been listening to the pod. I didn't quite finish it yet, but I felt like y'all had some good points.
Finish it.
No, I didn't, but I felt like y'all had some good points. I mostly disagreed with Brian's criticism, even though I think a lot of people feel the same way he did around like some of it just felt like we didn't quite get enough of like justification for some of the actions that people were taking.
In hindsight,
I didn't feel that way, but I think I could get where people are coming from when that, even if I disagree with that. I felt good about it.
I've had some time, a little bit more time to think about this.
To hate on it more.
Ellie is not written well in this show. Anyway,
all right.
Also, shout out to friend of the show Roberto for taking me to task and saying we went too easy on The Last of Us season 2. He might have a point.
Nah,
I generally go easy on stuff because hating's easy. It's easy to not shit. Not like destroying things takes so little effort compared to.
But that's how we're gonna get clicks and views, Savon. We got to bring the negativity. That's what people respond to.
I will leave this podcast if that's what this turns into. If this turns into us just actually complaining nonstop, I'm like, cool. I'm gonna do literally anything else. The news cycle's already grinding me down. I can't let this pod become the.
Oh
next
my
thing.
God, Supreme Court is losing their minds. All right, let's get into it. We are talking about Ironheart on this episode.
Yeah, boy.
We're focusing on Riri Williams. I forget the actress's name. Dominique something.
Dominique Thorne.
Dominique Dawes?
Dominique. No,
that's a pull. Dominique Dawes.
That's a deep pull, but that is also incorrect.
I only know Dominique Dawes and Dominique Wilkins.
And Dominique, what was the other one? Dominique Morshianu or something like that. She was like the other Dominique on the
okay.
There was like 2 Dominiques that year.
Also, Dominique Jones, my sister.
Oh, hey, shout out to Dominique Jones. Does she listen? Can you get her to listen? She's not into Marvel stuff.
We could not be more. You gotta know.
Does she have a beard and glasses?
She has neither.
No glasses.
Okay.
Does your brother wear glasses?
I'm the only one who wears glasses.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's your superpower.
Maybe they're fake, and he's just Clark Kenting us. It could be. All right, let's get into it. So we're focusing on Riri Williams in this new, I'd call
Dominique
it a
Thorne.
mini series, Dominique Thorne, because it is only going to be 6 episodes. Disney Plus dropped the 3 episodes this past week. They're going to do the next 3 next week, and then it'll be done and dusted. And then that'll bring us to Superman, which will release July 11th, which is actually coming up in about a week and a half from when we're recording. And then after that, we are following it up with Fantastic Four, which releases at the end of July. So I don't know if that's why Marvel was trying to release this not week by week, but kind of in batches, or if they just kind of like the 3 episode release because people like to binge things. Or
because they have zero faith in the show.
That was the speculation too. I don't know if that's true. But
just trying to get it out.
How many shows have they done this release format in West? Exactly.
I guess this one and Andor, right? That they've kind of done this, and then
Andor is twice as long.
Yeah, Agatha they did all week by week, right?
I'm pretty sure it was weekly.
Wes, none of the shows have done the release thing of Ironheart. We can spend time going through each one. I can tell you now, none of them did that. They were all
And
weekly.
is Ironheart the only one that's 6 episodes long?
Was Obi-Wan only 6 episodes?
If it's the only
Different
one,
universe.
if it's the only one that's 6, I think it's the only one that's 6, but it's definitely the only one that's done the 3 and 3 episodes at once.
Yeah, besides Andor. So maybe this is their new thing. Maybe they're just like gonna do 3 and 3 from now on. Who knows? I don't know. I've been hearing that Disney's gonna pivot to main quote unquote like main Avenger characters only having movies now and not doing shows, and then like maybe they'll pop into shows like for a cameo, but mostly gonna do like side characters for the TV shows moving forward. I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've heard. In the YouTubes, you know.
Who told you that, Kaya?
She's my inside source. All right. So we last saw Riri Williams in Wakanda Forever. She wasn't called Ironheart at that point, although she did get a super suit, an iron suit, that she made herself. So can we get a little backstory? You know, my memory is pretty shit. So I'm gonna rely on Savon or Brian here. Savon, you're probably good at this to give us the rundown on what we know about Riri Williams before the show starts.
Yeah,
no spoilers.
So for you jabronis at home who didn't see Wakanda Forever, Riri Williams was.
I'm sure they all saw it. They all had.
That's why I said for the jabronis who didn't. But I know we won't have jabroni listeners, so y'all probably have. But for folks who haven't,
give them the people's elbow.
For people with bad memories, we'll give y'all some excuses. You know, for the Westers out there. Riri Williams was I would say central, but ultimate tertiary character in Wakanda Forever. Her role in the story is, like in the show, a gifted young MIT student, gifted engineer, mechanic, likes to create things. She creates a device in her college class that can actually detect vibranium, and it's the first of its kind to exist. And she's, again, extremely smart, does people's homework for her to pay for the money that she uses to fund and like do her scrapping and putting things together because she's not rich. That's like a defining element of the character they consistently drive home, is like trying to make, you know, MacGyver this thing, figure this out. But because of her vibranium detecting machine, she ends up on the radar of not only the U.S. government, but also the Wakandan government and the Talokan government. And because she finds herself being the target of being killed because of her creating this device that could shift the status quo of, you know, vibranium being very unknown, she finds herself being targeted by the Talokan people who want to kill her. Also, the U.S. government, who's interested in her work, while also being protected by the Wakandans. So in the movie, she ends up with the Wakandans. Again, plays a role in the plot, but otherwise, she's there as the target of them. And then in that movie, she comes into her own, builds her own suit, and we learn a little bit about, you know, just the setup for her character. But by the end of the movie, she built this badass vibranium suit. The Wakandans, as we know, don't play that when it comes to their gear. They're very particular. They say, hey, you can't take that suit with you, big dog. So she lost it in customs, went home, had a bunch of experience, and now here she is, having been to Wakanda Magic Land and made this badass super suit that she was not able to bring, and is now back to her regular life building shit like a Joe Schmo trying to figure out how to get funding. And so that kind of gets us to the beginning of where Ironheart is.
I completely forgot that she invented that thing that could detect vibranium.
Yeah, the Talokan
kind of weird.
Yeah, the Talokan are literally just like, yo, man, you can't be inventing some shit like that. Like you're
gonna find us,
which might be one of the more realistic parts of the movie, right? Is that a person invents a game-changing device that shifts the status quo, and the government's like, yeah, nah, we gotta ice you. So
we're coming for you.
So, that's national security business right there.
Art imitates life.
Preemptive strikes.
Yeah, half the movie is them trying to low-key headhunt her, figuratively or literally.
I kind of forgot about that whole thing.
Well, that's what you got me.
I remembered that there was arguments over the vibranium and stuff like that, but I didn't remember that they were specifically after her.
A big look at the movie is them bargaining over her life. Like they're really just saying, "Hey, if you give us Riri and we kill her, we'll leave y'all alone." And they're just like, "Oh no, we're not gonna do that shit." So,
I thought you'd be in favor of that. Save or sacrifice one to save the many.
Yeah, but also you don't negotiate with terrorists. If they out here just trying to hold you like that,
move the goalposts on us, Savon.
That's utilitarian. Has principles.
I'm saying, like I'm not saying you do what you got to do, but if someone's just trying to hold you and there's no guarantee that they're gonna stick to their word, like no. Okay,
why would they stick to their word? They were honorable people.
Man, look, in the movie they even said if they could just run up on Wakanda talking shit, You think we just when we give them? What's to say they don't come in the movie? That is a plot point of hey, we
because
give
they
them what
said
he want. Who's
we
to
could
say
have if we wanted to already, but we didn't.
exactly.
So you knew that they were a people of their word.
Anyways, not taking the bait. Keep moving.
All right. I was just poking you because you always talk about you got to make the sacrifice play. All right. So what did you think about the Riri Williams character so far at this point? Before we start the show, Brian, what was your kind of impression? Did you not think about her at all? Were you totally like, yeah, I'm really excited for the show? Where were you coming from?
She wasn't like the biggest part of Wakanda Forever, but I do remember appreciating her character a bit because she brought this, kind of like this Black American perspective to Wakanda, which I thought was really interesting, and how she was finding inspiration from them and they needed her help, and they also wanted to mentor her and grow her as well. Like that felt like part of the storyline there, and I thought that was just a cool concept to put together, so that and I think that's a testament to Ryan Coogler's direction overall for Wakanda, that okay, even though this is some imaginary fictional superpower of a country in Africa, right, that it needs to have its impact felt in a real world kind of setting, right? It's like the Afrofuturism needs to connect to reality in Black America, and so I think he did that with Killmonger, and then he was also doing that a little bit with Riri, right?
Yeah, he juxtaposed that really well.
I think that's a cool combination. So I definitely liked her character quite a bit in Wakanda Forever, even though she's kind of a tertiary character. And so getting her own Ironheart series, why not? Like, what's not to like about that, right? She had a really charismatic personality in the movie, so yeah, let's give her own show, and let's see some iron suits, right? Like this should be a setup to Armor Wars and all of that, and like who doesn't want to see more Iron Man type suits fighting and getting their due in the MCU?
Yeah, it's like she's American Gundam. Like, what are we complaining about here? Like people.
You could overdo it.
I love Gundam.
You could overdo the super suits.
Only a jabroni would be like, oh yeah, too many badass super suits. Get out of here. Nobody trying to hear that.
Yeah, just come up with different suits. Yeah. That's how Gundam works.
Just want to co-sign Brian. One of my favorite parts, just co-signing. One of my favorite parts about Wakanda Forever was that all of Riri's interactions with the Wakandans and Wakanda. Every time in the theater, I was like, this is exactly how I would. This is like, I feel like she is saying out loud my thought process of, and she's just like, man, y'all got these suits. Like, so many times she's just in all like, man, y'all on some different shit. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm glad that somebody is saying out loud. Like, in that movie, Riri
when they visit her in the dorm room, right? That was the best part.
Yeah. And she's just like, yo, man, all that. All her moments of reacting to the Wakandans as like a Black American, knowing that they're like these super, people. I was like, yeah, this is pretty much like a self-insert of like, yo, Black people watching this movie, this is probably what y'all would be saying if Wakandans were out here doing stuff. And that was like, again, Brian, she wasn't a key part of the movie, but it was a fun element that just made it just a little bit more enjoyable and also added some levity to a really sad and heavy movie.
Yeah, I love the juxtaposition of like Okoye and Riri, right? Like Okoye is like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand this kid at all, and she's like, I don't understand you. Like, you came in here.
Yeah, and this is the energy of just like that's how it is. Like the older generation,
bald head ass,
bald head super bodyguard. Like, come on, man, we both. But no, I'm with you, Brian. Those were great.
I think I definitely like enjoyed her in the movie. And a little bit of comic relief, but I think she, to me, wasn't involved in like the most memorable moments. So, like Brian said, she wasn't the main part of the movie. I don't think. I mean, she was like almost like the MacGuffin, right, of the movie.
Yeah, she's the MacGuffin of the movie, basically, but not like exactly
the way you're describing it.
MacGuffin.
And so I think I wasn't necessarily like, yeah, I need an Ironheart show. Like, she wasn't somebody like I needed to see a show about. I think if you made like a movie about it, maybe, or where she was more of, the Robin to somebody's Batman or something, like that could be cool too. But
why has she got to be a sidekick?
She was never anybody's Robin.
I think because she's such a like a novice character, right? Like she's still starting her journey, and so I'd kind of want to see her like, you know, quote unquote, learn the ropes from somebody else. You know, I feel like we've seen that before from other people. But
you want to see her holding somebody else's jock?
Ew, no, not that.
I'm sorry, Brian. See the faces I'm making. Plenty of heroes start out. Almost every superhero origin story.
Is a superhero.
Yeah, that is, you're describing the Spider-Man. That is Batman. That's Spider-Man. That's Superman. That is literally every superhero ever. Why Riri got to start out as a damn sidekick?
This is a fair point. I retract my statement.
I feel the sweat rolling down your back.
That boy get hot in here.
I retract it. Fine. We don't. But
talk your shit. But I'm gonna poke holes in your shit too.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think for me, it wasn't like, oh man, I need to see a some kind of show or content or movie or whatever with her as like the main person. But I'm excited that we get something from Marvel, and she seems like a cool character. So we'll see where it goes. All right, let's get into some spoilers. At this point, three episodes in, halfway through, what's standing out as either positive or negative for you? From what you're seeing so far. Savon, what are you liking? What are you not liking?
Well, Brian made a similar point. Enjoying the music. I've heard a lot of really good tracks. I heard some good Gil Scott-Heron up in there on the soundtrack.
The revolution will not be televised.
Yeah, I heard Wait On My Way Home, which a classic, but I also know the Chicago artists, but they had a lot of just like the music was just very well curated of like, oh, cool, this is a good mix of. Even when her in the role I was playing Best Friend, I was like, it's a little on the nose, but like this is the song, like it fit the vibe, it fit the like this is what young women in that age group will be bopping to and turning up to. Like so the music choices felt very just well curated, authentic, well placed, used well. Like so the music definitely just was elevating the show for me. Some of the shooting I actually kind of rock with too. I actually like how each episode kind of starts off with a cool way of doing a little Ironheart title card or whatever. The first one where she crashed or when they had the dollar bills. I always like little things like that just because I'm a big fan of just having your artistic touch, just doing a little, just a little stuff to say, hey, this isn't meant to advance the story. This is just us, adding flavor to this. But
I did not like that.
What?
Small thing. I did not like that.
Wes hates flavor.
That's such
wasn't flavor.
So you just thought they just took that out and it just would have been better?
Yeah.
Get this guy out of here, Jesus!
You're talking about just the title card,
just that
like
title
when they
thing,
the cool, like the dollar bills or her crashing. Yeah. Each of that's just like, nah, I just ain't doing it for you. You saw that was like, nah,
it was not.
The dollar bills was the best.
That was sick. They doing the money shooter and all that.
The money shooter was cool. Just the fact that they like lined them up on the ground to spell out Ironheart. I didn't like that.
Jesus Christ, what's wrong with this?
He thought it should have spelled out sidekick.
Yeah. So honestly, what I'm enjoying most about the show is that, and this kind of builds off the previous question. I like Riri's character. My big thing in most superhero stories is that I like characters who come from struggle. Characters who kind of feel like they have it all, to me, tend to be less interesting and less compelling. So, like, to me, the Batmans, the Tony Starks, they're just. Granted, they have their own trauma, but like the whole I'm just infinitely rich and provided for and I became a superhero is always just kind of very silver spoonish to me, and I've never really been a fan of that. I like that Riri Williams is really one of our true, like, working class, blue collar superheroes. It's no bullshit. It's no power. She's a very, like, in the context of the Marvel world, very grounded, and I like that reflects in just how her character has to move around, right? Like, she's trying to move around and do Tony Stark type stuff, but then it's like, imagine watching Iron Man, but he's broke instead. But that makes for, in my opinion, a much more interesting character and story because she's on the cusp of greatness and badassery, but she has the most realistic challenge that's probably one of the most universally relatable instances ever. I ain't got no damn money. And it's like, yo, man.
She's not part of the 1%.
And like,
she's the blank man for the 21st century.
Yeah, and it's like, but that's real.
Blank
Shout out Damon Wayans.
I missed that one. Sorry, big dog.
Yo, you don't know Blank Man?
Not at this moment.
Oh my God, that's one of the best superhero movies of all time.
All right,
it's got to be.
Add it to the list.
It's Broke Batman.
Oh, okay.
Broke Batman.
Oh God. All right, I'll check that out.
Played by Damon Wayans.
Please send it to me. But yeah, I like the music.
Everyone.
Some of the shooting is cool. But my big thing is that I think Riri Williams is like a genuinely interesting character who, even from these 3 episodes, I'm like, oh, cool. They already are fleshing her out and building on her in a way where Wakanda Forever just didn't really have the room to do that for her because it wasn't her movie, right? So I like that they took that solid foundation of her and they already have established. And granted, it can be, sometimes the exposition can be a little heavy at times. It can be a little hit or miss. Sometimes the exposition's really good. Other times I'm not crazy about it, but overall I like how Riri's being characterized. I don't entirely like everything she does, but I'm compelled by her, which is I think the most important thing for me.
Just going on with that with the broke Iron Man situation. I too love that idea. I kind of wish the show played that up even more, right? Like we see her going to the scrapyard buying junk materials to remake her suit that got basically busted when she got kicked out of MIT and had to fly all the way from Boston to Chicago in her suit and then crash landed. Right?
So she
goes to pick up scrap metal. She's trying to make her own AI to, reconfigure the whole thing. And I know she's a genius and stuff, but wouldn't it have been more interesting if her suit still seemed a little less omnipotent, right? Like a little less perfect after putting in the broken fender from some Honda Accord or Honda Civic or whatever, and like kind of had more of a junkyard feel to it before it got leveled up to just being a super suit.
Yeah, well, we got that in Wakanda Forever. I think I don't disagree with you. I think the challenge with that is, one, we only got 6 episodes, so you got to frankly use your limited time wisely. But also, we got junkyard scrap suit Ironheart in Wakanda Forever. Like exactly what you're describing is literally the first suit we saw in that movie. And it would maybe feel like a little bit of treading water if
they glow it up.
It would be a bit of a treading water of like, okay, she gets that, like, because we've seen like the timeline so far has been like what the scrappy suit that we first see, then she goes to Wakanda and builds like the badass super suit that ends up getting taken away because you can't have that shit. But then she has
customs.
But then she has the school suit she makes that looks dope, but performance wise isn't there. Which I like the idea of the aesthetics are there, just not the performance, because again, she's still not there.
She had that drip before she got the function,
frankly, or just like, yo, building a super suit's hard. Like I get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm actually kind of happy with the direction they took the suit, because the suit she has now still has a very rough and tumble look to it, and like it doesn't look like a clean ass Tony Stark suit. But I'm with you, bro. I'd love to see more of the scrapping too, but we only got 6 episodes, man. We just talked about how Last of Us had to work with so much in 8 episodes. 6 episodes, you got, you gotta keep shit moving. You can't redo a thread we've already seen in the movie, unfortunately.
I think they made. Sorry, Brian. Were you finished?
I'm finished. Go ahead.
You didn't say anything you liked about it.
I like the music. I also like the gang, the Ocean's 11 posse that they have put together around Riri, around the hood. Really. That was kind of a nice surprise, actually. I wasn't expecting that. From the trailers and whatnot, that Riri's going to go to work for the hood, right? And you just expect her to be muscle for him, or something like that. Or she's gonna have to do some criminal escapading on his behalf. But what I didn't expect was that he would have this whole posse of kind of outsiders, really. Who are kind of like charming and delightful on their own, like Eric Andre, being the hardware specialist that Riri replaces is kind of hilarious. And and then
Rampage. It's Rampage.
It's Rampage. Yeah, and then you got the MMA twins, or I don't know if they're twins,
the blood
siblings or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you got the software hacker person, you got the
Slug
Hood himself, right? And so I think it's kind of a fun dynamic, and it makes for a couple of interesting scenes, right? Like you get the first heist with Riri, you get the money gun scene where they're partying up, and they have a whole vibe, which is kind of fun. And it almost sucks knowing that this is a superhero story, because in some ways you just want a fun Ocean's 11 type story or like an Ocean's 8 story, which is just, here are the charming, fun bandits that you want to root for because they're fun.
They were way more interesting than I thought they were gonna be. Like at first I was like, okay, what are we doing? I'm like, oh dang, am I kind of following for y'all a little bit? Is this kind of
a little bit, right?
Like, am I kind of fucking with y'all? Like, is the team chemistry kind of clicking? Like, oh dang, I'm with you, booty.
Yeah, you want to chill with them.
Yeah, I was like
the part where they're testing Riri in the elevator, right? And they're all watching like that. I think that's a really fun scene. Like, it's not the perfect scene, right? Like Riri doesn't exactly do anything mind bending to prove to us as an audience that, she's this genius. But what makes the scene good is that the rest of the crew is watching and they're eating popcorn and they're laughing at the whole thing.
They got the commentary and
psychopaths.
Which is kind of great, and it is that whole Ocean's 11 kind of situation, and you kind of just want to see that play out, right? And so that sort of brings me to my negative of the show is that it's like certain things are clicking and then they're not clicking, right? Like they do something good and then they do something bad to take it back, and it feels a little shaky throughout the 3 episodes.
Is it everything to do with the hood?
That might be your opinion, but why don't you tell us?
Well, I was asking what your opinion was on that one. Well, okay, I'll start with negatives and then I'll go back to positives. So the thing that I'm like not digging entirely about the show is I think the hood character and they're slow playing it a little bit, but I think knowing that it's like 6 episodes and we're already 3 episodes in, and it's like we still haven't really figured out like what the hood is actually doing. We know he had some kind of like thing he wanted to prove or something went wrong, and so he somehow made this deal with the devil to get this cloak that gives him magical powers, and he can become invisible. But it's like not clear why he's like doing all of this stuff, which like it's fine maybe, but like that kind of has to be pretty clear pretty soon, like what all these people they're hitting up have to do with each other. And some of it's just like a little bit overdone, like they're like, ooh, look at these scales he's got on his back, and like, oh, he's got a tattoo on him, and it's like, I mean, okay, fine, but like, it's like, I don't know. I think it's just like they're spending a little bit too much time on that kind of like mystery building, when it's like you already have the mystery. We already understand that there's a mystery here, right? Like you don't need to sell me on the mystery part of it. Just like continue to like have this character do things, and we haven't maybe got any scenes where he's been like really alone. I guess maybe like when he's with the cousin a little bit, like that counts, but we haven't seen what he's up to like when he's not in the scene, because he's not there a lot, right? And his speeches to pump up the team are like eye rolling, just like whatever. And then the only other thing that maybe I'm like about a little bit right now in the series is like I think maybe this is also because I don't remember what happened to Wakanda Forever with her suit, but like so far the suit's been a little bit of a disappointment. I love the animation of it. I love like how they've done that stuff with it. I love the potential of it, but I'm also not clear on what the suit is for. Like, what does it do? So far, we've only seen it fly and do like scanning. Like it can like X-ray into the building or something like that and monitor people's heartbeats. She talks about wanting it to be like something for EMS, like paramedics to use. But like so far, we haven't seen it do anything that's related to life-saving, like medical kind of things. Is it a weapon? Like, does it have guns or lasers or something? We haven't really seen her use that. Like all of these things, they just haven't established what they've sort of kind of established what her goal for a future suit would be, why she wants to make them, but they haven't established what her current suit can do or what it's for, or like, is it just for super strength, right? But she hasn't really beat up a whole lot of people in the suit. So it feels very much like we don't actually know why the suit needs to exist and what it's for and where it's being useful. A lot of things she's done outside of the suit. She did the whole the whole last episode, right? She was out of the suit and the suit was kind of on autopilot with Natalie, which I do think we need to talk about, like her origin, quote origin, like as based in this trauma of her stepdad and her best friend getting killed. So yeah, I mean, I think that's been my biggest thing so far is like I want more suit, even if that creates other problems, which is then you're just in a suit and either you just have the black screen with the face, or you see a faceless person
But that's an Iron Man
and it's
thing.
just the Mandalorian, an Iron Man, right? Like, and then they have to like put up the lid just so that you can see their face.
Wes, I'm not sure what you want, big dog.
But
what I want is a more like understanding of what the suit is supposed to be doing here, and like what she thinks it's for, and how she's using it.
So I think some of these questions. Well, Brian, sorry, you go. Nah, it's all you, big dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say before you give your big retort and blow up Wes, I just want to actually add on, right? Like when I'm saying like, the show takes steps backwards, right? It introduces something interesting and then takes us backwards. One that is true about the Hood. It's like the Hood has superpowers. Why does he need this crew? Right? Like the crew's cool, but why the hell does he need a crew? He can clearly just come at a CEO in their Uber X and
just
and threaten them. And threaten. He's got superpowers. He can bend bullets. He can be invisible. Why does he need a crew? It like makes zero sense. And then why does
he doesn't have the knowledge they do about like explosives and all
why
this stuff?
Why does he need explosives? Because he can just go into
he wanted
your
to
car.
sabotage the system, right? I thought maybe.
No, he's getting them to sign contracts. He could just show up wherever these CEOs are and scare them with his own super suit, which is a hood that has mystical powers, and threaten them, right? Like there's no reason why he needs to be doing anything that he's doing.
Okay.
And then secondly, hiring Riri as the hardware person also makes no sense, because if you have another person with a super powered suit, right, in her case, which is like pretty omnipotent in this Chicago world that they've set up, right? She too can also just come at people in her like indomitable suit, right? Like she can crash in anywhere. They didn't need to sneak into these greenhouses clearly, because the suit could fly right into those greenhouses, right? There's like zero need for any of that escapade. And so like that presents this other question of like what is real? Why is any of this necessary?
Is the suit omnipotent?
The show, I mean, in the Chicago crime world, yes. Right?
Is it just because it's bulletproof?
The suit can fly, the suit is strong, and it can crash into buildings, and it's terrifying.
But I don't think it broke any walls.
It need to do?
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't break any walls.
What else does it need to do? It flew right out. Like, I mean,
she punched a hole in it?
Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
I didn't see it punch any holes in the walls, but
that happens.
It did?
It happens.
Yeah.
It's silly. So,
you know what I would have loved? I would have loved if they set it up so like she uses her suit in like the first episode, she rebuilds it and then starts like saving people in Chicago or in her neighborhood. Like, I don't know. She saves like a car accident and lifts the car off of somebody who's like pinned. I don't know why that would ever happen.
Well, I guess
like, that happens way more in movies than in real life. But
so here's the thing, Wes. I don't think that's I have a lot of thoughts.
Share them. I'm struggling a little bit with it because I'm just like, I want to get more grounded in this show.
I'll keep this concise. One, I think, and Wes, to be honest with you, friend, you do this a lot. We halfway through the show, you're not going to have every question answered. You shouldn't expect to have every question answered. If you were watching
I shouldn't know what the suit can do?
No, you didn't. Wes,
I should know what the suit can do at this point.
You don't even know what I was referring to, though. I wasn't even talking about the suit yet.
Okay, well, that's what we were talking about.
I'm talking about
He's talking about the hood.
Yeah, I'm talking about the larger thing of like.
That's fair.
But my point is, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Take a moment.
You
said not every question needs to be answered at this point.
But at this point in the show, we're only 3 episodes in. In 3 episodes, they're not going to be able to answer like all the things you mentioned. That's not going to realistically happen in all 3 episodes of doing all this. Like at that point, you're asking for like an extent. You need more episodes for that. So I think you need to kind of go in knowing we haven't finished the series and just accept, I'm going to have unanswered questions. That's okay. Not having an answered question isn't a flaw when a series isn't done yet. Otherwise, it's like, they haven't answered it right off the bat. Then, they've given us some pretty solid information about the hood as far as I'm concerned. We know that it's mystical. We know that it comes with some kind of Faustian deal bullshit. We know that he clearly has some kind of dark past and that he made some kind of deal with the devil. I think we've gotten the basic bits of it to know, okay, the thing's cursed. It does weird shit. People freak out about it. Even Riri got weird vibes about it. The mystery's been established, and we've seen in some of the scenes where we do see, you say you never saw him alone. We've seen him alone several times where he's either alone dealing with the back pain the cape is causing him, or straight up at the end of the most recent episode being haunted by literal death visions of his cousin. Like, I think in terms of the mystery of the hood, I'm very satisfied with the mix of what we know versus what hasn't been answered yet. Because the real question now is like, okay, what's Riri going to find out about the hood? And okay, this hood comes at a cost. Clearly the cost is big. What the F is this cost going to be? Now, Brian, in terms of your question about, the heist crew and all that, I mean, I think if you look at it from just a more grounded perspective, he has the badass hood that does stuff, but it doesn't make him omnipotent. Like, they've made it clear that between the security stuff, even the CO2 thing happening, all of that, like, he can still get got. And despite the badassery of the hood, like, I didn't really have an issue with them establishing that, yeah, I'm curious why he's seems to be so caring about this crew. And, it's like, okay, you do have a badass hood. I see why you need a crew, but I feel like there's other ways you can have your shit done. But I'm kind of chalking that up to, like, let's see what the rest of the episodes do, and maybe we learn more about him. Maybe there's something about his backstory that means he specifically has clearly the dude hates rich people. We've already kind of seen he clearly has clearly a whole class war.
He's Omar from The Wire.
Rich people, like, we've already kind of gotten some breadcrumbs to kind of get hints of what his deal is. We know he was probably poor, abused and taken advantage by the rich and powerful, because that's why he has this, he's out to get them. He gets clearly pissed off when he's about to call off the heist, and the dude on the news like, they're just petty thieves, and that's just like, nah, actually, clearly he has his own self-image, being big, being seen. We haven't gotten all the answers, but I think I'm okay with what we've gotten about that now. And Wes, as far as the suit is concerned, you're talking about the Riri suit. I think you're asking the right questions, but not realizing that the show has already been asking and low-key answering those questions. You're asking a lot about what's the suit for. The big thing people keep asking to Riri is, why did you build the suit? And she says, because I could. Riri doesn't know why she's built the suit yet. Like, she's using the justification of, okay, the technology can help people and all that. But her thing right now in the show, Wes, is you're saying, oh, the suit doesn't have missiles and weapons and stuff. She never talked about building a weapons system machine. She's talked about using it for search and rescue.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not disappointed if it does or doesn't have weapons in it. I just don't know if it does have weapons in it.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't, because we've seen from how Riri talks that she doesn't like to fight. The only reason she's doing all this shit is to actually put the money back into the suit. So when the question becomes of what does she want, right now it's simple. She wants to just continue the research she was doing. She's really just trying to keep doing her MIT research. Like, the goal right now is, I have a suit. I'm still working on it. It's not done. So the final, whatever it is supposed to be of helping people, it ain't there yet. I need money, so I'm doing it by any means necessary. But also, when questioned by people of why she's building the suit, she doesn't really have a good reason, because she seems to be hiding behind just, oh, I'm an engineer. And I think that's setting up her character development of, you can't just be building this shit just cause. Do it for a higher calling and purpose. And I think they're doing a good job of setting that up, because Riri's been kind of effing up left and right these last few episodes. And we saw at the end of episode 3, like, her own short-sightedness and selfishness of just wanting to build her project and dream project suit is hurting people around her. Like, this is like, right now you're talking about, the whole origin story. This is her and her hero arc of trying to figure out, who and what are you actually trying to be? Okay, you could build a suit, cool, but what else can you gonna do with that? Because you're right, she's not doing any heroics yet. Right now, she's just a nerd who just wants to pursue her passion project. But yeah. I don't know. I'm okay with those things, because I feel like that's clearly a part of her character development. Her thing isn't meant to be a badass weapons platform suit that can do all this shit. Her thing really isn't even about the suit itself in terms of what it does. It's about her motivation behind the suit. Like, her motivations of getting into the suit and building it is more important, in my opinion, than what the suit can actually do. What the suit can do
doesn't that inform why you build the suit and why you, like, what's going to be in the suit?
And that's her thing. Her entire thing right now is that she's building it because she can, but she, I think, hasn't really found her heroic art of actually being altruistically motivated, because she doesn't have any real qualms about committing crimes and doing all this shit. She got a moral compass because she felt bad the man got robbed. But right now, Riri's still in her selfish, I just want to build my passion project phase. She's not thinking about, like, the things you're thinking about for the suit aren't important, at least in my opinion, or how I read it. That's not important to where her character's at right now. So, like,
she says at one point, like, she's building it because it's iconic.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? She's just trying to prove a point. Really.
She's doing it for her right now. Riri is everything Riri's doing for the suit is not like she might do it under the. But
like, don't you have to know what you're building when you build it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's not done though. The point is that it's like an ongoing development thing. She's building a power suit, but she still has to, add upgrades. She talks about it, upgrade this stuff. Like right now, the suit is still kind of janky. It doesn't perform exactly how she wants it to. I think you're overthinking the whole, I'm building a suit that's meant to do specific tasks. She's an engineer. She wants to build a badass suit to prove something to herself because
that's an art project, not an engineering project is, I guess, what I'm saying.
Well, then didn't have that conversation with Riri.
Right?
What kind of distinction are you trying to make?
Well, because like an engineer has like...
What does that matter?
Because an engineer is going to be setting out like, okay, I want it to do this, and so this is the problem I'm trying to solve. If you're just trying to build a Lego.
What are you talking about?
Do you know what I mean? Like, if I'm just trying to build Legos,
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Okay.
You know not making sense, bro.
You don't think that makes sense? Like,
you're like debating the existence of engineers.
Like you're getting caught.
If you're because if you're
let's talk about the show.
If you're a builder, you're an engineer. You're like, hey, I want my suit to do this. Therefore, I know that I'm going to need to build these things into it. If I'm just building a random
She's saying I'm an engineer who's trying to build the most iconic piece of tech that has existed in our world to show that I am also a genius and I can do this. Period.
Yeah, but wouldn't you need to know what makes it iconic?
It's a super suit that flies, that's strong. Maybe it can pack weapons. Kind of doesn't matter. And
she's doing it for herself.
It's armor.
You're getting too caught up into the like.
But why does it need to be armored?
Why don't you ask yourself that after we're done recording?
It
has to be armored because she's just trying to imitate Iron Man. That's it. Just because Tony Stark is a billionaire mogul and
her stepdad was a fan,
the big genius, right?
Was a fan, and that influenced her too.
He's the archetype that she's trying to live up to. Done. Right. Yeah. Her dad is a fan. Right. She's trying to meet that level of genius.
He inspired her
by recreating what he made.
Yeah. So she's an engineer. She liked to build shit.
Yeah.
But right now,
she says like you break stuff apart and figure out how to build it. Right. Yeah. Like that's part of her engineering ethos. Yeah. So that's exactly what she's doing.
Her arc right now is someone who has a passion project and doesn't really care about who gets negatively impacted by her passion project. Like that's where she is right now. The specific reasons or the motivations why is important in that she needs to answer that question, but that's not really important for us as the viewer. Like, this is like, okay, what's really going to see the light of like, yo, you're building all this dope shit, but like, what's the end game? Right now, the end game is pat herself on the back and gas up her own ego, but we know that that's not a healthy character arc. So the fun part will be seeing, okay, how does that get deconstructed? Which we're actively seeing happen. Like with your boy, what was his name? Ezekiel? Like, that was way more interesting than I thought of. Like, oh, shit. I like the idea of him actually being the one who kind of challenges Riri's whole thing about the importance of an iron suit. But like, clearly, he's meant to kind of like juxtapose to her, hey, man, you can have good intention. That shit can go dark real quick, which it has. Like, she's already feeling the blowback of what she's done because she screwed him. I don't know.
And he's another character who I like. Right, like I think that guy is weird and kind of offers good comic relief.
Which one's Ezekiel?
Joe,
Ezekiel Stain,
the guy that provides all the black market.
I love their interactions. Their chemistry on screen is really good.
Yeah, and they have these. Yeah, they have this fun dynamic.
Yeah,
but then when you stop and think about it, you're like, what? Like who is it? Why he's storing stuff in a side? Like he's just collecting material. And then they have to like shoehorn in that he's the son of the villain from the first Iron Man movie. So this is kind of like a recurring theme with this show. It's like, there are some pieces that are good, and then you weren't a fan of that. Peel it back. It's like it's so forced and totally unnecessary.
I gave that stuff a pass. I was like,
can he just be some guy that sells black market goods?
But then will we be in this?
Can he just be that? But
then we be in the same pod saying, so what's a regular guy just doing getting all this?
Yeah,
why does he get access
I like
to
it.
that?
No, because he doesn't have to be a regular. He could just be a guy that is an arms dealer. That is quirky, right? Like, why can't he just be that guy?
As long as we're not having to talk with Wes about the motivations of why is he even choosing to sell weapons in the first place.
Why would people sell weapons?
What is he? Does he need the money? He seems like he's just...
Y'all are misrepresenting
it's a very like strange. There's a lot of like strange things going on.
I didn't mind that.
Like it, but
I liked him.
I
gave him a pass.
Yeah, I felt about that.
I think it's a good dynamic. It's like the crew. The crew is fun,
yeah,
and they're fun to watch. Do they need to exist? Probably not.
Yeah.
Like, do they serve a purpose? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think they add flavor. I mean, if your story is just only the bare minimum,
they're just flavor.
Yeah,
that's
but
that's
yeah. But I mean, is that is that a bad thing though?
No, it makes the show better.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like there are certain things that they could have gone about a little bit differently, right? To build this show and to make it tight and compact for 6 episodes and make it humming along, right? They introduce all these like, dynamics that are just trying to fit into the rest of the MCU, right? Like you build out this whole supporting cast and it's quirky and it's fun and it's charming and there's comic relief and whatever. And it might actually do that, but sometimes that gets in the way of the actual plot and storytelling that's happening, where, I think in this case, right, like all these things just raise all these questions about what the hell is going on. Like none of this is logical.
Those things weren't a big deal to me.
I mean, they're a big deal because they add style and substance. They add like
a big deal in terms of like hurting.
Substance.
Sorry, it wasn't a big deal in terms of like I guess for me, I'll always be okay with the flavor and bells and whistle stuff because I'm like, cool. Otherwise, you just have a very boring, just seasonless meal that, yes, I guess it feels.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I think like flavor is absolutely necessary in like any piece of entertainment. But I'm saying in this case, the flavor is undercut by the fact that none of it is logical and fits into the plot.
Oh, in terms of like you thinking the heist crew just not even being necessary at all.
The heist crew is not necessary. Like the Joe as
can't do
like,
a heist by
arms
yourself.
dealer like doesn't make any sense. Like hiring Riri like to work in context of a crew doesn't make sense. Like the Hood, like like Riri needing to like in the middle of the heist to get a piece of fabric from the Hood's hood doesn't make sense because clearly he leaves it alone in the room. Like even that other person in the crew put it on.
He cracked the safe.
Like, she put it on.
But she said she cracked the safe. She had clearly been working on it. He keeps it in a big ass vault, and clearly the safe cracker got in, and then almost got fucking smoked over it.
I mean, but the crew also doesn't have guns. Like they don't have guns. Only the Hood packs a gun. Like nobody else has a gun.
Doesn't the friend have a gun? The cousin?
Did he pull it on anyone? I think he uses knives. He throws knives. He does do
knives.
The security guards never flash guns. They only try to brawl. And Riri is in a suit of armor the whole time. Like, come on, man. You don't have to do any of this. You fly into the vault, steal the Hood. Go ahead. You can totally do that.
But she wanted to do it without him knowing.
Oh my God.
That's the whole point. They know her.
She could rob him.
She knows that,
his
but they know her
of money.
They know her information. She already established. They know where she lived. They kill loose ends because they killed your boy Stewart. So she's not about to just.
But she didn't know that till later. That was episode 3.
That wasn't till later.
It was like end of episode 2 or beginning of episode 3.
That was 3.
Yeah.
I guess. Brian,
I'm with you, Savon. I bought it all. I was like, you can't do a heist with just one person. That's not a heist.
So here's my thing.
It's a heist because it's a heist crew because that's a movie trope.
Exactly.
That's the only reason why. But,
so here's my thing, Brian.
So that's what I'm saying. It's fun, but it's stupid.
But I guess this is my question, Brian, because like every time I go back and ask myself these questions, I'm like, yeah, I guess, but like, I feel like these complaints are just baked into I would argue just movies in general then, right? Like even since the first Iron Man, we have Tony hacking shit from his phone and buying a building in 3 clicks and, oh, why'd you do that? Why'd you even need everybody else if Iron Man could just fly in? Like, I don't know. Like, that didn't half the movie Shang-Chi, they weren't using guns. Like, that entire movie, there's a criminal organization and they use electric tonfa. Like, at a certain, like, I guess the point
totally ridiculous.
The point I'm getting at is that, like, I'm not even saying that these things aren't valid complaints, but like, I feel like this stuff is just baked into the genre in a way where if this is the hill we're dying on, then like, dude, we got to do a retroactive on all these shits we've been doing because these are like, some of this stuff feels like it's pretty normal movie stuff at this point. We just pick and choose when we're bothered by it or not. And maybe there's nothing wrong with that, but like, I feel like over the years of us doing this pod, we got some pods where We don't
Man,
care
how are
about
me and
that
Savon
shit.
agreeing on this? This is terrible,
No, I mean,
guys.
No. So here's the key difference.
I just feel like we've done so many movies where we see every permutation, and sometimes it's cool, sometimes it's not. I'm like, when do you do it right? What's right and what's wrong with this shit?
Here's the key difference, right? It's about the tone and the environment that you set for the show, right? So if it's Iron Man, right? Iron Man exists in a different kind of environment, a different realm, right? Like he's an arms dealer. He's dealing with people with missiles and stuff like that. He's dealing with military grade weapons and whatever. This show is a grounded show. Clearly, they're trying to make it feel grounded. We're in Chicago, like we're on the streets of Chicago. You know, she's a low-level person, but she has a flying suit of armor, right? And so once you start setting up that environment, that creates the own internal storytelling logic of the entire show. And then they're constantly undercutting it by having things that don't fit into that logic. That's why I'm saying that's where the storytelling it gets really shaky and a little bit all over the place. And I'm not saying like that ruins the entire show. I'm just calling it out that I want inconsistent.
No, I want to hear your thought. No, that's helpful. I like the thought process.
Yeah, where you're coming from. It's inconsistent, and it actually to the show's detriment, right? It just continues to undercut and come into conflict with its own internal logic that it's setting up, right? Like if you're gonna have people who are like just trying to trip wires, right, and stuff like that, it's kind of hard to have that at the same time when you have somebody who's genius level, who we're saying is like Tony Stark level genius, who can create all this crazy technology clearly on her own by herself, like falling into that, right? Like those two things have trouble coexisting in the world that they are setting up for this. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I don't completely agree, but I understand your logic of like tonal consistency being something that like maybe throws you off. So like maybe if the heist, them not using guns, threw you off in terms of the tone of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess that puts you in a tricky spot because I guess, yeah, okay, I see
what are we doing? Yeah. What are we doing in
But then she only joined them under the condition that they weren't going to be violent. So then you kind of get into like a writing versus tone conflict of how does she join the nonviolent heist crew if them being nonviolent heist crew conflicts with what you think is the tone of the story, which is that if you're robbing people, they're probably not going to be doing it. You know, it's going to be dirtier than maybe it's going to be Sopranos, not Ocean's 11, kind of like they say in the show.
Yeah.
Like in your mind, both have robberies, but an Ocean's 11's heist tonally is different than a Sopranos one, and you felt like they were straddling both and didn't, because there were moments where it felt like you got violent, people get shot, but there were also the whole, we do it clean, no one gets hurt. You felt like it tried to do both and then didn't really execute either. Like, I just want to make sure I'm understanding that, like, if I'm kind of hearing where you're coming from.
Well, it's not that they're trying to do both. It's that they're trying to do multiple things, right? Which is shoehorn in the whole Iron Man thing into this kind of world, right? And that's where you get this like crazy tonal inconsistency where it's like, okay, somebody has a lot of power and it's not meshing well with the people that are not about that, right? Who are not doing that, who are like very much grounded in a certain type of reality in this Chicago that you've laid out for us.
Fair enough. I was okay with the heist crew. I kind of saw it like Avengers, like, yeah, everybody got to do something. Yeah, why don't Thor just blow everybody up? Because you need hackers, goddammit. That's why.
But it's like, but I understand. She's the hardware. She's the genius, right?
But she's not the
also. Why do you need the hacker?
She's not the criminal. That's why.
Why do you need the hacker? And also, the hacker can only hack part of the security system of the greenhouse, but not the main room.
Oh, we are not getting into movie hacker logic. That shit is magic, bro. We just talked. We're not opening that line.
And you have Riri on the team, like, oh man, it's just like messing with me.
That part was fine. I think one of the things that was like a little bit maybe off for me, like tiny 0.5%, was just that like they hired her. What do they call her? The hardware specialist. But like, did they have her build any hardware or do any hardware things? Or
that's what I'm saying.
The hardware was clearly implying that she had the iron suit. The hardware.
No, because Eric Andre's character was building hardware things for them, and so if they're going to replace him with another hardware person, then now they have a hole in their in their operation, whatever operation they set up. But and they didn't hire her to be the muscle, sort of, right? Like, because they didn't have her do anything. They had her be the lookout person on top.
Well, I think
which makes no sense.
Well, they did point out that like, hey, Hood was like, yo, we can use the suit to break in if shit goes crazy. He said that himself, and then his cousin was like, yo, you getting cocky, chill. Like, in fairness, the Hood did point out several times, hey, if shit doesn't go right, we can just kind of use the iron suit as a get out of jail free card. So like, the internal logic of why don't they use the suit, like he clearly had thought of that as a backup plan, but for whatever his reasons, he wanted to do it clandestine, which for the fact they're doing the extortion stuff, that's not the biggest jump in logic of you're going to extort somebody, you want to do it on the slick. Like that's not the biggest jump in logic. You can't
extort them if you blow up all their operations. Then they have nothing to pay you with.
That too, but which is why they were holding it as leverage, and that's why the second dude, that's why the green one went, like, oh, he didn't give a damn about the leverage. He was like, yo, F y'all.
He's like, here's the money, bro. Yeah, I got you.
He disrespected him. I don't know. I think some of that stuff wasn't really a huge deal to me. My big thing is more so just like, what are they going to do with these remaining 3 episodes? I think the first 3 episodes have been fine. I think. What do you
want? Is Mephisto going to show up?
I don't know. I don't really care.
I don't know about Mephisto.
I don't really care
because people keep saying he might be here.
People have been building the gas and stuff with Mephisto for years. Just watch the shit and stop trying to hype up yourself for something that you don't know is real or not. But I think I just want to see a satisfying conclusion to whatever they do with the Hood. And honestly, the Hood, in my opinion, is a very interesting. Like, I wasn't a fan of the character just in comics and when I saw the trailers. I actually liked how he's acted. Like, the actor is very chill and charismatic more than I thought, and I actually kind of like that because he's got this creepy hood and he's really got this weird shit going on, but he's probably one of the more even keeled of the characters we've seen in the show, which makes me
he's like, hey, take a minute, go spend your money, come back, we're gonna be ready.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay,
I love that.
Yeah. But to me,
that's words to live by.
What? Oh yeah. So I guess to say, like, I like how that character. I think he's well acted. He's interesting. The idea of technology and magic is always fun and doesn't get explored enough in Marvel. So I'm glad they're leaning into this, and I hope that whatever the final conflict is between them, like, I'm excited for a fun tech magic showdown. But also I'm curious about Natalie. That's my big thing. Like, where they're going with that, how they want to explain more of it. And them exploring Riri's trauma. But I think Riri, like, not to disagree with, I mean, the critiques y'all had are like the critiques y'all had, but I think Riri's character and what they're doing with her is still my favorite part of the show. She has panic attacks. She's emotionally closed off. She clearly has a bunch of trauma and a bunch of shit going on. I think she's an interesting character with very clear flaws, very clear baggage to get over, but has a lot of very interesting, good traits too. And, like, I'm just enjoying watching her go on this journey that she's the focus of. Even just the scenes where she's with the criminal, I really like how well acted it is that she really does try to distance herself and not really other herself from them, like with the popping champagne, the body language. I don't know. I just think they're really selling me on Riri just, trying to just do whatever it takes. And I don't know. She got a lot of shit on her plate, and I'm very curious to see how it's resolved. And I think it's interesting shit on her plate. The AI best friend, the unresolved trauma, losing the thing, trying to pay for the stuff, hurting people around. Oh, this is like a lot for her. And the fact that her character has active panic attacks that the show doesn't shy down from, like, I think it's interesting. It's good character work. Despite the other stuff, I like the character work with her, despite the critiques y'all had that I think are valid in many ways.
Yeah, I want them. Well, they're clearly setting up this idea of, like, her grief, right, from being with, like, losing her stepdad, losing her best friend, and being there in the moment when it happened. And they haven't said, like, survivor's guilt, but, like, that's part of it, right? Like, she wasn't able to save them. She felt like she could have done more, even though, like, obviously there wasn't anything else you can do. It's just bullets spraying into a shop. I don't. It's interesting. I haven't even asked myself the question of, like, who carried out that, like, crime, or, like, why. Like, what was happening there, but you could see them in the last episode, like, revealing who was behind it, and it's like some other character from some other property and being like, we'll continue the story later, or it's like Echo from Kingpin's world.
That's you think it is? That's what you think gonna happen?
I don't.
Well, they do say it's a drive-by, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's that, but like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you could just like throw in a random villain, or maybe not a villain, and yeah, I guess it had to be a villain, and then
It
like,
was the Hood,
and then
the
they
whole
get
time.
yeah, right, and then they get to go their own. Maybe it was Cousin Joe, and Hood was directing him. I don't know. But I don't think that's the important question right now in the show. Right now, the important question is like, how does she start to heal from what she's going through? Is having Natalie around going to help her do that when Natalie is actually herself, right? Like, it was from her own brain scan. It wasn't from Natalie's brain at all, right? It's only from her. And so really the AI that she built is based on her own memories, flaws, thought process, things like that. And that doesn't seem like that's going to work, right? Like, self-therapy is not a thing. You can't like self-therapy yourself. And so how does she reach out and ground herself in the people around her, or community or whatever? And they haven't established that there's going to be that character yet. So like, we'll see if they get there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that they can pull all of that together in a way that feels like satisfying / real / I think satisfying is the best way to put that, at the end, and hopefully it gives her some kind of closure. And then, like I said, for the suit, like I've been disappointed that there isn't like a direction for like where she's trying to go with the suit, other than, like you said, iconic. But it's like, I don't know. I mean, if you just wanted a drippy suit, like, you could have done that easily, right? You don't need all these fancy equations for that. So, that's been one thing that I'm hoping for. Brian,
creating a whole AI based off of a dead loved one is a crazy idea, right? And the fact, like,
she didn't even try to do that, though.
As you pointed out, that it's not from a brain scan of that actual person,
right,
but just reliant on Riri's own memories of that person.
Yeah.
Right. That is super fascinating. And that they have a dynamic that is similar to the one that they had in real life. And so like this AI has taken on that personality, and they can have this dialogue between each other. They disagree, they kind of argue. The AI Natalie goes off and does her own thing as if she were that real person. All of that is super fascinating. And I think maybe it would have been interesting to see a show that was just built around that idea, right? Like what if this show had removed some of the other, extra other storylines that are going on, and it was really just like focused on, what happens when you build something like this, right?
You're describing a Black Mirror episode right now.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You're describing a literal Black Mirror episode.
They could have had the MCU version of the Black Mirror episode, right? Like, Winter Soldier is supposed to be a spy thriller, right? Like, but in the MCU, and they have Ant-Man and the heist movie, MCU.
I don't know if people want to watch Ironheart.
MCU Black Mirror.
Ironheart being the Twilight Zone Black Mirror style MCU show about the dangers of AI.
It doesn't have to go sideways in the way that Black Mirror episodes do, but it could like further explore that idea, right? Because like even her own mom asked,
yeah, she's like, "Can you make me one?
You can build the same thing of my husband, right?" Like that's a crazy idea, and actually probably not too far off from the reality that people are trying to create right now in the tech world. And so like to have this like genius teenager kind of deal with that struggle, I don't know. I think that's just super interesting. And I have a feeling that the show is not going to find a way to resolve it. And I think it's just going to be a thing. She's just going to be Jarvis. Jarvis is Natalie.
I mean, that's what she was in the comic. I mean, that's kind of what the character was. But like, we'll see, because I think
she has to let Natalie go for that to happen. She has to kill off Natalie.
I'm not sure, but what I do know is, that's a common thing based off the friend, and also the whole. And I think the show, to what extent they do it, I don't know, Brian. But like, I think we're definitely going to probably have it explored, because we know we're going to get backstory about Natalie and the details of that, and really having to overcome her stuff, right? And the fact that even the Natalie duplicate seems to have blocked out the trauma of that event. So clearly they got to work through that. But even when she was talking to Ezekiel and talking hypothetically about the AI thing, he kind of brought up the whole, is it possible versus is it ethical thing? And like even said, it depends on the brand of creator, right? And you even get into a weird callback to the OG Avengers movie, which folks forget that Ultron was created off of Tony and the Hulk's brains themselves, right? Like Ultron was an AI that they made based off of themselves, and it tried to end the effing world. So like, I don't know if they'll do a callback to that, but like MCU and the whole Iron Man character world and dangerous AI based off of people's brains thing isn't new territory. But the fact that they even opened up the whole ethical implications thing with several lines makes me think, Brian, that they are going to explore it. I think the question more so is how they resolve it, less so how they explore it. Do we get just Natalie realizing that she is a memory or whatever, and she self-actualizes? Do they answer the life or death? Hey, you're an AI, or how much are you aware of it, and are you okay with that? Because right now they got like y'all didn't play Cyberpunk. It's basically Johnny Silverhand. Is she gonna
go into the singularity?
But this is basically Johnny Silverhand. It's like, I don't know to what extent is this person real, not like we'll see how they resolve it. I think they're going to talk about it. How they resolve it is interesting. But to your point, Wes, does it result in her having to let her go because that's true closure? Or is it that they resolve it and then she has like just a Natalie style bot, kind of how like Jarvis was, based off the family butler? I don't know. I just hope they stick the landing on that. But it has a lot of potential.
Let's wrap it up there. Go check it out. Ironheart, Disney Plus, our latest MCU show. Friends, next week we're gonna do a What We're Loving, so no homework for you. We'll see what the guys were loving.
At least we got an interesting character for once. I'm sick of all these just rich dudes who just ain't got no real struggles.
I like that Riri's got some edge.
Yeah, like yes, all these dudes is boring.
She got some abs. Dominique did her ab workouts. I need to get on that plan, bro. My abs are a little,
forget the Ironheart.
Yeah, what does she need an iron suit for? She got the iron body.
The iron hard body. What y'all talking about? What?
She been doing that. What is it? Taibo. She been doing lots of Taibo.
She been doing the Taibo.
Billy Blanks.
What happened to that guy? He just fell off the map. We never heard from him.
I bet he got his ass beat.
Jesus. All right, friends, we're out of here. See you later. Bye.